Mom, I have poop.
We're mildly thriving. Where two exhausted moms try to make sense of this wild ride called raising neurodivergent kids.
We're not doctors and we're not therapists, and you probably shouldn't take our advice. We cuss like sailors and drink like pirates.
Just think of us as your inappropriately funny and brutally honest support group.
So grab a drink, lower your expectations.
Because the truth is, we need this. And we're going to keep doing this whether you're here or not.
We just hope you join us. Hi, everybody. I'm Sadie.
And I'm Morgan.
And welcome back to our part 2 of our diagnosis story and journey episodes.
What are we drinking today?
Another round of espresso martinis.
Round 2.
Round 2.
All right.
Perfect.
Okay, should we get into our Mom Guilt Bingo?
Yes, let's Mom Guilt Bingo.
Get your bingo cards out because it's time for Mom Guilt Bingo.
Yay!
Okay, my Mom Guilt Bingo is less about being a mom to my kids.
Okay.
I realized through this whole soccer adventure that we're on with Ada that I assume the way other kids are going to treat Ada or interact with her, I should say. I'll say interact.
You just think no one knows, huh?
Yeah, it's easier to assume that people just like won't understand and won't know how to interact with her than it is for me to kind of get my hopes up.
Yep.
Right. But then how terrible is that to do that to these other sweet little kids?
Well, I do have to say though, about the group of girls that you do soccer with.
Yes.
They're all pretty prominent figures in Ellie's world.
Right.
And so I feel like even though they may not think they're aware, they're a little more aware.
Yeah.
So I just feel like it was a good spot for Ada to be
100%.
for kids that are just a little desensitized to it, you know?
Yeah.
So
these girls have blown my mind. And I never want to hold Ada back from something she wants to do. Like really, it's kind of too much for us, honestly. All 4 of us in the family, but she wants to do it. And so, you know, we all want to support her in it. And I've had so much anxiety about it.
I feel like
these sweet girls have just blown my mind. And I feel so guilty for having been so nervous about it.
I feel like going into the world, I just assume no one knows anything about special needs stuff. And it's a bad way to be, but it's just kind of how our life has been.
Yeah.
So I feel like I understand how you can feel guilty about that, but I'm happy it's going.
Oh my gosh, they're
the other way.
Absolutely amazing.
I was just thinking my Mom Guilt Bingo is, I actually just wrote about this in my blog. I have a blog, mommingforever.blog, but it is about Miles. You know, I'm like, oh, his IEP, it's nothing. I just add this and add that and whatever. It's no big deal. But it is still a big deal because he does have ADHD and anxiety and he has to have an IEP for all these things. Mm-hmm. And I'm just like, well, it's super easy compared to Ellie. So it's not that I minimize it, but I almost do kind of minimize it. And I feel guilty for almost not giving his needs the same respect, if that makes sense.
Right. Oh, totally. It
or
totally makes sense to me.
I don't know. I just, like you said, what you know about his ADHD? What do you do? And I'm like, God, I don't really do much. That's not okay.
Well,
so I feel guilty often about his needs. And it's not that they come secondary. Yeah. They just, I guess, aren't as in my face almost. I don't know.
Well, it's a classic glass sibling scenario.
So it makes me feel guilty sometimes that I don't maybe take his diagnosis stuff as seriously as I should or could.
Yeah.
Type of situation. So
I feel that.
That's my mom guilt.
I feel that
today.
Okay, so should I jump in?
Yeah.
So when Ada was 6 weeks old, she did this crazy thing where she was inconsolable all the time. Not like our son was, just inconsolable, especially without me.
Right. You can tell from the freaking get-go.
Oh, gosh. And then she did this thing when she was 6 weeks where she was inconsolable and stiffened her entire body like a 2x4. It was wild. I've never seen anything like it. And then around 6 months, I was like, she's not really smiling. but she was. Like, I had pictures of her smiling.
We used to have to work really hard for Ellie to smile. And once we
Yeah.
got the diagnosis, I actually looked back and I was like, smack me in the face.
Right.
Duh.
Exactly. I had pictures of her smiling, so I was like, oh yeah, no, we're okay. But in reality, she wasn't interacting with a smile.
Yep.
And I remember I got her to laugh and I got it on camera and it was a huge deal. And it was like 6 months. And with my son was my first, so everything was a big deal. And even then, his laugh, it came in the phases that it kind of prepares you for it. And so, you know, anyway. Well, she never really learned to crawl. She army crawled pretty much from the get-go. And then her first word was giraffe.
So dead.
And I'll never forget, we were reading a book and I was like, what did you just say? Giraffe. And then she didn't really say any other words after that. Like, she would babble. So again, oh, we're okay.
Yep,
She's
we're babbling.
Mm-hmm. But at her year checkup, I said something to the doctor and they were like, you know what? I'm just going to refer you for an assessment with the regional center just to check out the speech. So we did that and she had a speech delay. So we got in with the regional center and that started speech therapy. And that was my introduction to the whole like service support world. But of course, you know, I just had no idea what I was doing. And then, I never jumped into Harvey's story.
Oh, nope. We can do that at the end.
Okay, let's do that at the end.
Since we're already rolling with Ada, let's do Ada, and then we'll jump into Sweet Harv.
Yeah. So I have ADHD really bad. And then this was like mid-pandemic. So, you know, I had that depressive haze over my eyes and I was being thrown all this paperwork and questions and all this stuff. And I was just like, what are you all telling me, you know? Yeah. And then at 3, she graduated out of the early start program of the regional center, or was that called early start?
I don't know what it's called, but you definitely are in like the younger, and then
they transfer you over to the school district.
Yep.
And one of them is called Early Start. I'm not sure which. But I'll never forget that meeting where this one person I had gotten used to was telling me that now this was my person.
Miss Our Lady.
Right? Yeah. So I'm being told now this is Our Lady and we're not going to get services over here anymore, but we're getting them all over here. And I'm like, what's happening? Like, what? I don't understand. And I wish at that point I would have known to speak up and be like, no, I don't want to lose regional center. What can we do? I wasn't bullied into it, but it just was definitely.
Were you just kind of going with the flow
of
what the professionals were telling you and not challenging that?
Yes, exactly. So I'm trying to remember when we switched doctors, if it was before or after that. The doctor we had been seeing had moved. And so we just were seeing random doctors. And during the pandemic, they would, you know, stay 6 feet away and like lift her shirt for me. And, you know, okay, everything looks good. See ya. And so I was just like, every appointment we left, not that I expected anything, but I was just like, yep, I'm just a bad mom. Don't know what I'm doing.
That's what I mean. Like, we don't ever think this is going to be our lives.
No.
You don't think that you're going to be that family with a special needs kid. And as fucked up as that sounds, that's just the reality and the harsh truth of it. And so,
and in that,
it's not the first thing that crosses your mind ever. Like, she's probably special needs. You're just like, I'm the fucking worst.
Right.
Yeah, makes sense.
And also during that phase too, our close group of friends, none of them had kids. We were like,
and you only had Harvey, who was only 2 years ahead. You can't really even tell the
And when you
differences
add a depressive haze in the mix.
And COVID.
Right. And then also, we're all the perfect parents before we have kids. I mean, no one is innocent of that.
Yeah, 100%.
And not that my friends ever did or said anything to make me feel this way, but that just was in the back of my mind. Like, God, Morgan, can you even imagine what everyone is thinking right now?
Yeah, it's easy to get,
And like I said, these friends are absolutely amazing. They didn't make me feel that way at all. We're
freaking lucky with our friend groups.
Yeah. That was in the back of my head. So I was down on myself all the time. So then we switched doctors And you do the initial visit where they meet you and, you know, kind of do the baseline visit. Well, I was so used to this other office.
What age were you at this stage?
I think it was like 2.
Okay.
That's why I wasn't sure all of a sudden which came first. It's all such a haze.
It's seriously a freaking,
Yeah.
it's a blur of
Yeah.
shit.
So we switched to this new doctor and I was like, okay, we're going to go meet him and bye. And so he examines Ada and he keeps like, no, mom, it's okay. She's getting into everything. And I'm trying to, you know,
So he was like the first one to actually let her go and see what was happening.
Well, right. But in my head, I'm like, why is this asshole telling me how to parent my kid? You know?
And he was just trying to see her.
He was trying to see the behaviors.
Yep.
I had no idea. So anyway, he was doing the assessment on her and I'm trying to answer things and also tune into what's going on with her because there's always something that she's getting into that, you know. And then he starts the exam on Harvey and she's in my lap, basically just tornadoing, climbing up the shutters, touching all of the sanitary stuff, trying to reach into the needle, hazardous thing, you know, open the drawers, do the plug-ins.
Ellie sucked on the blinds last time we were there.
Oh my
and I was like,
gosh.
yeah, she was sucking on the blind cords.
This whole time he's like, no, mama, it's okay. And I'm like, no, this is not okay.
No, this place is going to burn down in a minute.
And he's over there examining Harvey and he goes, she's tornadoing on me. And he goes, oh, did you know that Harvey's pinkies are crooked? And I'm like, what?
We're like, I have a second. I have a kid. I forgot what was happening.
Like, dude, no, I didn't know his pinkies were crooked. But that's how thorough he was examining my kids, which I'm so thankful of. And also in that moment, I was like, get me the fuck out of here. I need to strap this child in her car seat and cry my way from her door to my front door, which is not very far. I
wear workout clothes to all doctor's appointments.
Yes,
I always end up sweating my face off.
Yes, right? And then
prime example.
The cry between like closing their door and opening yours, it's like half a second, but I'm going to get it out and then I'm going to like...
Yep. Deep
you know, yeah. So anyway, the entire time he was examining Harvey, he was like, okay, and everything's okay over here? And I'm like, what? Yeah,
it doesn't look like it's okay over here.
And he kept doing that. Like, she okay? Everything's okay then with her, huh? Okay, we're not concerned about anything over here. And I'm just like, get me the fuck out of here. So anyway, he called me after and he was like, listen, I want to talk to you about your daughter. It might be worth getting her an assessment. I can refer you somewhere. We can look into autism. He's like, you know, I'm not ready to diagnose or anything, but I did see some characteristics that lined up with autism. So I hang up and I'm like, you know, just like it was COVID.
Were you dazed?
I had nowhere to go, nowhere to be.
Did it trigger some thoughts in your heads like it did with me? Like autism for Ellie, it never crossed my mind 100%. At all. And the developmental delay only crossed my mind because my girlfriend's mom had worked in the field and she randomly brought it up. But I felt stunned and slapped in the face. Were you like, I kind of figured, or were you like, what the fuck?
I felt so stupid.
So you felt
He was
stunned.
like, does she flap her arms? I was like, I mean, not really. Like, how's she talking? When did she start walking? Does she line things up? Does she have any OCD tendencies? And I was like, I mean, not really. And then the next couple weeks,
noticing, huh?
It was like, holy shit.
He like turned on that freaking switch for you to really notice. And you're like, oh, fuck.
Right.
This is different.
So I had this like brief moment where I was telling, you know, my close friends who, of course, kind of like you said during your journey, so supportive. Asked all the questions that they knew how to ask. And I had a moment of relief. Like, okay, Morgan, you're not a bad mom.
Yep.
This plate is heavy.
Yep.
And I remember telling one friend, well, we're only given what we can handle. And I know there's a reason that I'm her mom. So we'll figure this out. And I still think that's true. But also it was very much like a
coping mechanism.
Yeah.
At that point, you're just like, it's fine. We're fine. We can handle this. But inside you're like, holy shit.
Right.
This is so scary.
And then what's worth noting too is we went to Kissinger. You talked about Dr. Kissinger in our area, who's phenomenal. We went to her for her speech diagnosis. And she even said, like, do you want me, this was like 18 months. Do you want me to add in the autism assessment? At this age, it's really quick. I don't really see a need for it, but if you'd like, we can. Just to rule it out. And I was like, yeah, let's go ahead. It was really quick. We're in the office. She's like, yeah, I don't see any signs. So that was at 18 months. This doctor I really love and respect still to this day. So then when he brought that up, you know, that was in the back of my mind too. Okay. And then this whole time up until that point, it was just confirmation that I just was a bad mom and I couldn't figure out how to parent my children in a way where like we could go to parks successfully.
So
and
were you seeing, at this point, you knew something was going on. Did you find yourself comparing Ada and Harvey in their journeys and being like, she is different because she's doing this differently? Were you able to know that from just having two children so close in age? I had Amaya first.
yeah.
And really, if I didn't have her first and all those years of experience, I would not have caught anything of Ellie's as early as we did.
Yeah.
So, did
honestly,
you see stuff?
Harvey is, like you said about Miles, classic ADHD.
Were you seeing red flags?
He was all over the place.
Gotcha.
I didn't realize he was our easy child until Ada came along.
Gotcha.
I like, you know what they say, oh, they don't give you two hard kids. So
I get that.
the whole theory of, you know, if you have a hard kid first, your next kid will be easy. There's, you know,
None of that.
no, that was not true for us. I was like, oh, he was our easy kid. Okay. And then the pandemic had me in such a depressive state for so many reasons that, you know, we all were basically in that state. So I was just in a haze. We weren't around a lot of kids her age. Harvey was my first kid only 2 years before that. So I didn't have a lot of experience. So I had things in the back of my mind. Like I said, her smiling and laughing, not in an interactive way. That was always in the back of my mind.
Gotcha.
The fact that like David couldn't console her, you know, if I went to shower with my other kid because it was the only time I had with him.
And you're her person, so that's all that's going to calm her the fuck down.
Right. So things were in the back of my mind for sure. We went through, in an effort to not like go too long, we just went through this journey of assessment after assessment. I don't know. My timeline's not working out. I don't prefer to go back into too much detail.
Don't ever apologize because it is such a blur. And you start talking and you're like, well, this might matter in the story, but it's just all a clusterfuck.
So I think that's when we did the school assessment. And I had high hopes because, you know, she presents so differently in school versus home. But at that point, she was with 2 and 3-year-olds.
So people just kept telling you no.
At that point, they told me at 18 months.
Okay.
At this point, the school said, oh, she's just a girl with anxiety. Well, no, and that's what it was. That's why my timeline was off. So they had to do an assessment to graduate you out. So that one is worth noting because if any mom is in this scenario, put your foot down and ask for a different person. We were 5 minutes late because child with sensory needs. Honestly, I'm less late now as a mom than I was before being a mom. And I'm real proud of that. But in this specific moment, we were 5 minutes late. He was real dicky about it. The room was like 90 degrees. It was small. There was nothing childlike in it. They just shoved us in an office. And then he brought out the assessment toys.
He wasn't set up
and
for
then
it.
and this is before I knew how to really advocate for my kid. Like that's something we learn as we go.
Yep, 100%.
Mama Tiger wasn't really born yet at this point.
I 100% agree.
And I had to actually say, you know, I think maybe a little bit of encouragement would help her loosen up a little more. And he didn't even respond very well to that. And then the assessment was just like she was being, anyway. So he also told me no.
Okay. So
the school system diagnoses her as a girl with anxiety.
Okay.
And so she still has her speech IEP. Thank goodness, because that got us in the door for services.
So what made you feel like you wanted to not challenge these humans, but was it like a mother, like internal instinct that you were just like, these professionals aren't seeing what I'm seeing? Or did you feel, I hate to say the word crazy, but like sometimes I feel like I'm crazy, you know, but like
I felt 100%
did you feel crazy and alone? Or were you like, okay, they're just not seeing this. I need to be logical. Like what the frick? Like what helped you just keep going, basically?
I felt 100% alone and crazy. I also had this desperation, like this amount of hard can't be normal because
100%.
I can't do this. I don't know how to explain it. I remember being at my aunt and uncle's. We were visiting for almost a week, just me and the kids. They help out a ton. It's one of my favorite vacations to do. And the last time I did it, she was real young and it was the middle of the night and they were like up an hour and a half past their bedtime because they wake up really early. And I just remember looking at them crying like, this amount of hard isn't normal, right? And they were like, something's going on. So it was just this desperation.
Was that kind of validating that like, okay, I'm not crazy, someone else is seeing me?
But that was the only validation I had at that point.
I'm just going to cut you off super fast.
No.
So I feel like we met, has it been 2 years? A year?
No.
2?
Like February, March would be 2 years.
Oh, okay. So about a year and a half. So I'm clearly no expert. I am just a special needs mother with one special needs child. I don't really know friends. Well, now I do, but I have a very small community of special needs kids that I know personally on like an everyday level. When we first met you guys, and like we said in one of our episodes, you know, I stalked you because I was crying to my girlfriend that I mentioned before, who was around when Ellie got diagnosed and all this stuff. She was like, there's this girl, her name's Morgan, you know, she lives by you, special needs mom, blah, blah, blah. I met you guys and I met Ada and I was just like, oh, I don't see it yet. And not in like your crazy way. Because like a lot of people used to be like, are you sure? Ellie's fine. And I'm like, fuck you and your beautiful little comment. Like, I don't know if you're trying to be nice and thank you so much if you are, but like, fuck
That's not
off.
helpful. That's not helpful.
Not helpful, man.
Yeah.
So when I first met you guys in Ada, I was like, oh, she seems, I hate to say fine. It's a fucked up word.
It's a honeymoon phase she has.
And it is.
Yep.
She's so good at masking.
Oh my God, it's incredible.
And the more we've gotten to know you guys,
Yeah.
I'm just like, holy fuck.
Yeah.
I don't know how you guys, how you live in this day to day and she still has no diagnosis.
Yeah.
It blows my fucking mind how many similarities her and Ellie have.
Oh yeah.
Everyone's different. Ellie's severe. And you know, I always say this, like, I mean this in the kindest way and not like,
oh, 100%.
like your kid is so special needs and in an offensive way. And
No.
I don't know if that even
validating.
makes sense.
It's validating.
But even my husband was like, for a long time, he was like, I don't see it. I just don't really see it yet. I don't know what they go through at home, but I don't see it when we're around them. And then he's like, oh, I see it now. Like the older she's gotten, I see it. And I'm like, because she's comfortable with us and she doesn't mask for us anymore.
Right. Yep.
And so
Totally.
I just see so many freaking similarities with her and Ellie.
Totally. I told David the other day, and I hope that you can hear this, you know, and know kind of where it's coming from. And, you know, I don't mean to offend you, but like we've been in this quote unquote high functioning world where we have one foot in each world. Yep. And I told David the other day, I was like, Ellie and Ada are more alike than they are different.
And I used to not see it that way. I remember last summer when I was taking, not the summer we just had, the one before that. And I was taking the kids to gymnastics sometimes, the flips for kids together.
Yeah.
And Blake would be like, dude, Ada didn't say one word to me the entire time. Wouldn't look me in the eyes when I picked him up, didn't say anything. And I was like, oh my God, she like talks to me. And I look at her and we just like flap each other's ears off. Yeah. But like the more and more time and the more and more comfortable, they share so many similarities.
So many. Yeah.
So many more. At first I was like, here's Ellie's need. And I do not mean this in a bad
validating.
way.
It's 100% validating.
When I first met you guys, I was like, Ellie's special needs. Here's probably Ada's special needs.
Right.
And now that I see Ada is comfortable around me and I see it's seriously like,
Oh, yeah. They are more similar than they
I
are
don't
different.
understand how you're still fighting this fucking way you're fighting.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I don't know either. But when she was diagnosed as a girl with anxiety, that one pissed me off because I've learned since then how much anxiety can present itself alongside of autism and the way it can
I was just talking about this
affect,
yesterday with a friend.
Yeah, the way it can affect their behaviors. And I don't think they were wrong, but she's not just a girl with anxiety. And they just didn't listen to anything that we deal with at home because the school system will only pay attention to what pertains to their education.
Yep.
So I know that now.
Which is so fucked.
Right. So I know that now. And then we got referred back to the regional center from the pediatrician. So I went through another diagnosis with Dr. Kissinger. And I thought, okay, this is it. And she's so thorough. And she really does pay attention to what goes on at home. They ask so many questions. The paperwork, I mean, it's so depressing. But the paperwork alone is just incredible. And then she was in her office, just like you said, you know, they take the kids back with Dr. Kissinger and she just essentially is playing with the kids or your child. And I'm like, oh my God, it's
her dream. It's Ada's dream life.
It's her dream room.
Yep.
And she is one-on-one with an adult. That's her preferred activity. Her number one dream world is a room full of toys and imagination land and one adult paying attention on the floor, paying full attention to you.
Yep.
So I don't know. I wasn't surprised when I got the call. I was a little bit surprised with how insistent she was because I'd spent so long. I don't want to sound crazy, but I was seeing how she ticked the boxes for autism. How does she fit, right? So I didn't have an objective view of her. I was like, this has got to be autism. And here, and here. Why? So when she said no, I was like, okay, but can you explain this? And can you explain that? And she was like, Morgan, respectfully, I can promise you it's not autism. She looked me in the eyes. She was deep in imagination land and she can communicate. It's not autism. And at that point, she brought up neurological disability, right? That's what it is, right?
Intellectual disability.
Yeah. I always forget. I think my brain is blocking it out.
Yeah, it's a good thing to block out.
It's a true possibility
Just
for us.
that was a knife in the heart.
Yeah, so she brings up intellectual disability. And in my mind, I'm like, I'm still so, lost in this sea of my emotions, what's really going on with her. I just want someone to accurately see my child. And she has this masking honeymoon phase that, so no one will see her. And she brings up intellectual disability. And I'm like thinking in my head, okay, intellectually is like a massive umbrella of things. And disability is that's another general umbrella. So intellectual disability. Yes, that's her. And she goes, no, Morgan. This exactly what
Same
you said.
thing she said to me. Like, I don't think you're understanding.
This is the new terminology for what we used to call retardation. And what she was telling me is I cannot diagnose her with that because all of her scores were not low. She went up and down in some. Communication, eye contact, social ability, imagination, all these, right?
See, and Ellie's really low in like communication, so that's a big.
So she was like, I'm not comfortable diagnosing her with that yet, but it's not off the table. And what I will do, like I can see that she's a child that needs services. So what I will do is just write my assessment honestly and hope that regional center will recognize that she needs to be approved because there's a 5th category. So for regional center, and a lot of people don't know this.
I'm just rolling my eyes over here, everybody.
Yeah. With
special needs without being special needs. It's
exactly.
Fucking mind blowing.
It's like global
learning, global developmental delay.
Yes, that's what she was diagnosed with. So with regional center, there's 4 categories that are black and white. It's like autism, Down syndrome, 2 others, and I won't name them because I might get them wrong. And then they literally call it 5th category. And that is for people like Ada.
Who need help.
Right.
Who fucking so clearly need help and
help.
have differences.
Right. So the kicker is it's temporary. They said in 3 years, we'll have to assess again and see if the services are still necessary. But basically, I was just at a point. I went back to the pediatrician. I was like, no, it's not autism. Sorry. I don't know what it is either, but
So you
I need a break.
believing everything they were saying.
I was, but also I was just at a point where like I had dissected. I went
Why
from.
are you fighting this fight? They made you feel crazy?
Yes.
Almost, in a sense?
So I went from basically like, I'm a terrible mom. Why is this so hard? I can't do this. To fighting for I don't know what. You know, I didn't even know what I was fighting for. And I just got to a point where I was like, I just need to enjoy my daughter. I need to re-get to know her.
Right, like almost what does I don't know, it's so weird because I feel like having that diagnosis and label totally, it was like, you know, we'll be in Costco and she's in a Princess Peach dress and she's laying on the floor screaming and people are staring and sometimes I'm like, she's fucking autistic.
Right? Yeah.
But like,
Back off. Yeah.
you don't get that.
No.
I don't want to say luxury, but you don't get that luxury to
Yeah.
just be like, fuck you, we're special needs.
Yeah.
You were like
Yeah.
continually fighting for this.
Right.
Not diagnosis, but diagnosis. I don't
Right.
know.
Well, yeah. And it was just like, I just needed to back off for a minute. And this pediatrician was, I could tell in that appointment, kept trying to get me back on board. Like, no, Mom, don't stop fighting. And he was shocked that it wasn't autism.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Well, like they say, girls have way later diagnosis dates than boys. So
yeah.
maybe
honestly, it's going to take her getting old enough to communicate herself, I think, before she gets diagnosed, which is so sad. So that's where I lived for about a year. And then she started TK, which I'm so grateful for our school that we're in. They allowed us to put her in TK instead of kindergarten. And that was literally, I mean, our life took a hard left in the best way. We ran into what I refer to as her teacher was like the loving brick wall we needed to run into. Her communication was incredible. I mean, we would not only do after school check-ins on how the day went every day, but I also had these beautiful morning check-ins with her, and sometimes it was nothing. And then sometimes she'd look at me and she'd see my tears from just trying to get my child to school.
It easier.
And she just would look at me, and I'll never forget this one time. She noticed that I was crying, and during that time, her student teacher happened to be the one doing class. And so she just pulled me into their teacher lounge and sat me down and basically therapized me until I felt like I could drive myself home. Yeah. But she saw us, and she also confirmed this is absolutely a child that needs more support in school. And that's the kickstart that I needed to get back on back into
journey.
fighting mode. Yeah. Just, like, no, something is going on here. And respectfully, if it's possible to
A mom knows best.
say respectfully, fuck you all.
It is.
That is how I felt, of just like, just get out of my way. Like
Well, and look, your fighting has caused, so you don't have the official diagnosis to get these services, but everyone's seeing she needs services. And so like, look what your fighting is creating.
yeah.
She's getting as much services as she can
Right.
get
Right.
without a diagnosis, which is super fucking huge.
Ugh.
So do you feel like, so after the last IEP where you guys got, not granted because that's dumb, but like you guys had a bunch of wins at the last IEP. She's like in the special needs classroom and has all these supports at school. Does that feel validating to you? Or is it still like, you see all these things going on, but no one's giving her a diagnosis?
That one, that's an interesting one. I'll never forget. So I waited till the end of the school year to do all of the assessment stuff again, because basically she was starting to present a lot of her behaviors at school. And so I just wanted to interfile. I tried not to get my hopes up. And then we sat down in that meeting and the psychologist says, well, Ada's a mystery. And my heart broke because the amount of times she's been called a mystery or a puzzle, like I don't think I can hear it again.
Everyone's seeing it.
I don't think I can hear it again because I need answers, right?
I couldn't imagine.
And then she starts going through the assessment. It's like low, well below average, low here, very low, all these things.
It's the fucking worst.
And she's explaining this and I'm thinking, maybe we are going to get it. And then she gets to the last part and she goes, okay, so to qualify for services at school, she needs to check one of 3 boxes. One is autism, one is
Down
syndrome, and the other is literally called other health concern.
And that's what they checked, huh?
So she looks at me and she goes, no, it was not Down syndrome, it was intellectual disability. So she goes, so because she can communicate, she makes eye contact, and she's social, I cannot mark her with autism. Because at the age of 3, she was assessed and had higher scores, I can't diagnose her with intellectual disability. But basically, like, looking back, I wasn't ready to like process and admit
to deal
this
with that anyways.
in the moment. But looking back, she was definitely saying, this is not off the table. And she says, so we're going to, I'm going to mark other health concerns because she clearly needs services. And it's just not clear yet. And I look at her and I was like, okay, just to be really clear, there's still not assessment criteria that differentiates young boys versus young girls.
Which is a difference. Huge difference.
I could have totally made this up in my head, but I feel like she looked at me and was like, thank you for understanding that. Like, basically she had her hands tied.
Well, I feel like the system is very old school. Nothing is up to par or up with the modern. This is the shit that's been going on for like 50 fucking years where people like didn't even believe in disabilities essentially.
Yeah.
I mean,
I looked at the DSM-5 that is the criteria to my knowledge. Someone please tell me if I'm wrong. DSM-5.
We are not professionals.
Yeah, we don't actually know these
just
things.
moms who Google.
We Google a lot. So the DSM-5 that is used for assessments is from 2013.
Yep, makes sense.
I have a good friend whose autistic daughter is 21 years old. She fought way harder than I even have. And her daughter didn't get diagnosed till she was 13.
Oh, till she could speak her own.
She's now 21. And I am fighting the same system that she fought.
Yep.
So anyway, I'm so grateful for our school. I'm so grateful for her TK teacher because she lit the fire under my ass, which is exactly what I needed. And then our school, I've never felt like I had to fight for services.
Perfect.
It's always kind of this kumbaya circle of how can we support this child?
For some reason, I get very angry when they were like, we have to do the assessments at school and we don't honor the assessments before. And I was like, they're idiots. No.
Yeah.
And I feel, I'm like, no one's going to, are they not going to see this?
Right.
Is she even special needs enough? Am I making this shit up?
Right.
And I was like, such a fucking mess about
Like,
the
it's so
school
clear.
having to go through it. And like I said, though, our journey is so different. And they did see it, but my anxiety was like, they're not going to see it.
Yeah.
They're not going to see it.
So our journey is even different in that aspect. At one point, I brought that up in like before we did the assessments at school. I was like, well, I know that you guys can't honor a medical diagnosis. And they go, oh, no. Legally, we have to. And I was like, what? It's a smaller school district. So I don't know if they just...
Their stuff's different.
I don't know. I have no idea. But I was like, what? So my husband and I go back to the pediatrician. And we have this long appointment with the person that set us on this journey to begin with, that opened my eyes. I'm so grateful to him. And also, by the end of that appointment, I straight up asked him, are you willing to diagnose our daughter with autism? And he, like, basically, I wasn't expecting a clear-cut answer because I know the system now at this point. But essentially, because so many professionals now have said no, I get the impression he doesn't want to stick his neck out. He doesn't want to be the one to say yes.
But sometimes that's
all it takes.
is one person. So she gets all of the things.
Mm-hmm.
She literally gets what Ellie does at school. Mm-hmm. Except Ellie has 28 diagnoses, it feels like.
Yeah.
And she has 0.
She's none.
So that's amazing in one way, but also just like super fucked up in another.
Super fucked up.
Like, how is this child getting all these services, but no one can diagnose her?
Yeah. So I may never forget, we left that meeting and there was 3 of them that walked us over to the special day class. And we're standing in the special day class and they're kind of touring it a little bit with us. And my husband goes, I need to go. And I look at him and I'm like, are you going back to work? And he just was like,
Couldn't take him.
yeah. And he left. So then I'm in there. You know, I'm with people that are like, I'm so sorry, but at least she's getting services. And I'm getting texts from my husband, call me when you get to your car. So I call him and he was like, I'm so sorry. I was having a panic attack. Like standing in the special day class when we've never had that moment of saying it out loud.
Like I told you, everybody, by the way, I came over here the other day because Morgan texted me and was like, are you free? And I come over to her house and I love you, but she was having a meltdown. And then I started having a meltdown because as we all see, I'm emotional.
Yeah.
And that's what I told you. We have a solid diagnosis, so we were able to straight mourn from the beginning. You're in a fucking limbo. Mm-hmm. And I literally told you, you guys have to mourn. I don't know what you're mourning exactly because you don't have a diagnosis, but I feel like you have to go through that mourning period to start to hit the acceptance period. And not that we don't accept our life and our things.
Right.
There's a big thing to
but
do with
the
acceptance.
blow of standing in a special day class would hit so much less had we already mourned something. We don't know what we're mourning. Like,
so you're not mourning anything yet. No. And so you're just in this limbo of like, you guys have to mourn somehow. And I don't know what you mourn, so I don't know how you begin that process because I am not in your shoes.
Well, that's part of this journey is like,
you guys miss that mourning period.
Yeah, it's just been this constant, like I've said,
build up.
A mountain that we're climbing. Literally, it doesn't even feel like there's a path. We're
so
just
your husband's
flying.
just like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
We're not autistic, and all of a sudden we are in this special needs classroom.
Right. Which for us in our generation, again, there's a stigma, a huge stigma with the special needs class.
Yep. This is a big thing right now that we're going through too.
So my husband and I are having to process what we were conditioned as children to think. But no, we don't think that anymore. No one thinks like that anymore. So just wipe that clean. Yep. And then this is your daughter's life. We didn't have, like you said, the luxury of saying it out loud to someone. My daughter's autistic. My kid is autistic. Yep. And then up until that moment, we couldn't embrace special needs either. We had nothing. We were just like, there's something going on with her. We don't know yet. So like everywhere we went, it was...
People probably weren't 100% supportive, I'm assuming.
I mean, maybe they were and I didn't, and I made it up in my head that, I don't know. Anyway, so he said I was having a panic attack and we ended up having to drive around in our separate cars for 15 minutes. He's telling me he's having a panic attack. We're trying to process this child that we still don't have any way of describing what's going on with her. And up until that point, we didn't even have the special needs terminology.
But then you're seeing all the schools giving her... Your school's
but she's
essentially
gonna be
rolling
in
out the red rug
class.
of the special needs world.
Right. And I'll never forget, I was like, I failed her again. And it's not about it being autism, or it's about literally anything.
Tell me meeting her fucking needs.
Tell me what's going on then. Yeah. Tell me. And my husband said, you haven't failed her. We are here because of you. And I'll never forget that. Because
how many times? Because you have just been like, you're right. Everyone's saying no.
Right.
We're just gonna let her struggle through
Right.
school and really not have a chance of making friends and meeting anybody,
Right.
and leave her in this typical classroom and just let shit fly.
Well, and I asked him a while after that, I was like, hey, you know, up until that point, did you ever feel like I was creating an issue where there wasn't? And did you think I was just chasing smoke, you know? And he looks at me and I was like, it's not a trick question. And he goes, yeah, absolutely.
I 100% sometimes think still, and I have 80 diagnoses for Ellie. And seriously, sometimes I think, am I being dramatic?
Right.
Am I making this up?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then is my kid actually this special needs?
Yeah.
When I'm having these fights with anything and advocating extremely, and I have all the diagnoses, and I still think, am I dramatic?
Right.
Am I making this up? Is my kid actually at this level?
Right.
I literally
so
question
we
that
don't
all the
have
time.
diagnoses at all.
So,
and you've
God.
seen her over here at home in her safe space.
Oh, she came out naked like Ellie does all the time. And I was like, oh my God, she's Ellie's twin.
Yes.
And I always tell you, I mean this in the politest way because I'm not a fucking doctor, but
Right. Right.
I see you.
Yeah.
And I don't think
know,
you're
appreciate-
crazy.
I appreciate that.
But even
I
as
know.
someone who has diagnosis, I still feel crazy sometimes.
Yeah.
The school has a way of making me feel like, oh, well, she does this. She communicates just fine. I'm like, how does she communicate at school?
Yeah.
She does not communicate at home. She like grunts and points a lot of the time.
Right.
I'm like, oh, you thought she said 4-word sentence? That's from a movie. It's literally a quote from a movie that she said to you today. She doesn't have spontaneous speech.
yeah.
I think I'm crazy. Maybe I'm the only one that sees it.
Dude.
So
no.
I feel crazy having diagnosis. So
Yeah.
I can imagine your feelings and not having that validation almost.
Yeah. It's just been a really, really isolating journey of back and forth. Am I crazy? And then
Where do you fit almost?
And honestly, I talk about it too much because
I talk about it all the time. I'm like,
Right?
I'm so sorry, everyone.
well,
All I talk about.
to my close friends, I honestly worry that it looks like I'm talking shit about my kid all the time. But in reality, I'm talking to my friends who, you know, they're not in this world at all. And I need to hear that they see it. And of course, no one is
I
going to
see you.
say, no one is going to say that because we don't know if we can. Is that going to come out wrong? Are you going to, you know, be okay if I say that? We've said our friends are amazing. We're so lucky. But I just talk about it all the time because I'm never getting validated. And then when I do,
As someone who has all the validation,
yeah,
I still talk about it all the time. So you can't feel that.
yeah, no, I appreciate that. And I mean, it was so hard to see when she was 3. And then since 3 to now she's 6, it's such a bizarre thought to think like, oh, good, we might get the diagnosis now. It's more obvious. And also, fuck, it's more obvious.
Yep.
You know?
She's just going to be one of those later.
Yeah. So that's another reason I'm so thankful for, you know, following my gut and not holding her back with soccer. Like so many of these girls on her team that are in your world also are at her school. And I'm just so thankful for the way they're interacting with her and getting to know and being inclusive. Because if you think about it, being inclusive essentially means bending the rules.
Yep.
And that's really hard for kids.
Especially,
that's so hard
and
for
like I said, these girls are on the soccer team. They're a lot a part of our daily world, and they're all just getting old enough to notice
Yeah,
that
exactly.
like Ellie's different and things are different. But
Yeah.
most of them ask questions.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's just something really special. They understand and they see it.
Well, and
it's hard to
they're-
understand for a lot of children. But when you
Absolutely.
see it,
Yeah. They're being taught how to be inclusive
Without
and
even
it's
knowing
like-
it.
Without even
Without
knowing
even
it.
knowing it.
Because essentially it is bending rules, but they're seeing like, "Oh, Ada goes in and then almost immediately wants out and someone has to just randomly jump in and go back in."
Yep.
And they're like, "Okay, that's what we do for Ada." And like, "Oh, she's not going to line up with us and put her foot on the ball." Well, honestly, she can't balance. She doesn't have a center of gravity really. So, so she's going to run around and do whatever she wants. And then after everyone else has their turn, we're going to be like, Ada, do you want your turn? And we're going to cheer her on and she's going to do it, even though she wasn't minding the rules. You know, they're learning ways to bend rules to be inclusive. And it's really incredible to watch because for my daughter, she's so aware of the people around her. And that's what is going to be so necessary for her and her happiness is people embracing who she is and knowing how
and this comes
to include
from
her.
Just being around, I feel like kids and parents that are loud. I'm fucking loud. I'm a special needs mom. I have friends. It's fantastic. They are not super loud about it. It's how they want to live their life. I am like, bitches.
Yeah.
My kid is special needs.
Yeah.
I will yell it from the rooftops.
Yeah.
Please,
we're an open book.
Please try to take that into consideration. There's just something super beautiful in that seeing these kids naturally learn to accept and be all inclusive.
Yeah, these girls were chanting Ada's name. I'll never forget that moment. I went home and cried. It was so incredible. These girls are amazing. So anyway, so we don't have a diagnosis. Well,
so she's on a journey.
We're on a journey. We have a diagnosis of other health concern and global developmental delay. At one point, anxiety, but that hasn't even stuck with her.
Oh, we just got anxiety.
Yeah. It's definitely at play. But like I said, I'm so thankful for her school. The special day class is incredible. And then also through that, we're able to embrace the special needs terminology. And that's given my husband and I a lot of peace because, you know, we're able to say that out loud, at least. And I think that has helped our whole family. So
I guess a couple things to take away from this. Never stop fucking fighting.
yes.
For what you feel in your gut. And then it's really important to find your community.
Yes.
Not just your amazing friends outside of the special needs world, but I'm such a huge advocate of stalking the special needs moms
Collecting
and
special
collecting
needs
them
friends.
because there really is solace in
Yeah.
being seen. And
Totally. I should get into Harvey's story real quick though.
Oh yeah.
I know that poor glass sibling. So I have ADHD and I've only known really the last 10 years maybe. So school was easy enough for me that I was the first one finishing. I was at the highest levels, you know, elementary school through middle school. And then I got to high school and shit got hard and I couldn't do it anymore. And I just thought I was stupid. So once I figured out that I have ADHD and then I saw so many of those characteristics in my son, I was like, okay, I got this. And at one point I brought it up to him and I just said, hey, so my brain works a certain way. And I think this is kind of how your brain works. Do you ever feel this way? And so it's always...
So you knew how to broach the subject.
Yeah, it was always pretty easy to have an open dialogue because I also have it. It's not big and scary because I have it too.
You're familiar with it.
And so, again, I'm really thankful for our school because his first grade teacher brought up us doing a social support team. And I literally just signed a paper. I was like, oh God, another assessment. I can't.
Social support team.
I literally signed a piece of paper that said we can meet and basically it's okay to pull him from class. And there was at least 5 of us in the room.
There's so many perks of a small school.
And we just brought up all these things like, okay, he walks laps sometimes when he's having a hard time focusing. And the teacher said, is there anything he does at home that helps him refocus? And I was like, I've really tried to reiterate that like the body movement is really big.
Yeah, movement's
That's the
huge.
best way to reset the ADHD brain to get back into focus mode. But he just randomly started doing push-ups one day on his own. So his teacher started letting him do push-ups in the book zone.
And he likes it.
Yeah. And then he'd be pulled out for a social team with other peers because something that's really common with ADHD that I at least used to suffer from really bad, not as much anymore, is rejection sensitive it's RDS, rejection, dysphoria, sensitivity, RSD. Anyway, I haven't said it in a while. I used to it was big in my world, my own world for a while. But basically any perceived rejection, so not actual logical rejection, just perceived rejection hits you like...
Yep. That's exactly how poor Miles is every day of his life.
Yeah. So they started pulling him for social teams just to practice social skills and to reframe that a little bit. And then my favorite was have him deliver a note to a teacher So they would just write on a sticky note, fold it a few times and say, go bring this to your old kindergarten teacher. And then when he needs heavy work, give him an old dictionary. And the teachers would just swap it back. But then all the teachers kind of knew that if someone's bringing me a random note, it's for the benefit of that child. Oh, I needed this dictionary. Thanks, kid. You know, just stuff like that. So that was really huge for him. We have taken the medication route with him.
So
we chose, And I mean, that's controversial. And I just always go back to like, you just have to do what's right for your kid and your family.
Yep.
And we went the non-stimulant route with him. And it's worked pretty good. It like helped him focus and slow down just a little bit, but not to the point where anyone else notices. And that's kind of what we were going for. We didn't want to change him. And then I'll never forget one of the conferences with that first grade teacher. He was like, well, what's your goal with Harvey and his academics? And I was like, I just don't ever want him to feel stupid.
Yep. Like what we did with all the time.
That's how I grew up. I felt stupid. And then because there's always been a major open dialogue, he's now in 3rd grade. And before school started, we went back to the doctor and we started talking about possibly adding a different one. And then after the fact, we brought him into the conversation and we were like, well, how do you feel about maybe adding a medication? And we've always
told me this.
Yeah, we've always told him that he ping pongs around. And so when we asked him that question, he goes, well, I don't really want to. I like me. I like ping ponging. I was like, okay, like fair. I love that. And it's not really an issue academically. Like he's not the strongest in his class. He's usually the kid sitting up front by the teacher's desk.
Miles sits up front too.
Yeah. And he doesn't mind it. He likes it. And I was like, buddy, I love that. I just don't want you to feel like you having a hard time focusing means that you're dumb or stupid in school. And he goes, I don't feel like that. So I told him, okay, if school ever feels like it's getting really hard for you, let's reapproach this because there are tools we can use.
I'm all about building up that toolbox.
Oh my gosh, I love the toolbox.
You can't do life without a toolbox.
No. So anyway, we're a household of fidget toys and it's a mess constantly because they're both just ping-ponging around and they're both sensory seekers too. So they are so loud and just doing everything they can to just feel their external body. And David and I are both highly sensitive and we don't do well with a lot of noise and
we're all just
commotion.
We're all in the thick of it.
Yes. It's just a constant
It's the phase of life right now.
learning how to cope. Yeah, pretty much. But anyway, so those are my 2 kids. And but the whole diagnosis story is our pediatrician. We just did the paperwork, like where the teachers fill it out, the parents fill it out, and that was all it took. And it was so straightforward. Yeah, the fact that I have it was so straightforward. It was like easy peasy diagnosis, no issue. We've never even had to use his diagnosis because, you know, we haven't gone further than the difference between a social support team and a 504 IEP is the 504 and IEP are legally binding.
Yep.
Where with the social support team, if I heard that they weren't doing something that we agreed to, it's not legally binding.
Gotcha.
But I haven't had to use that.
It's more of them just helping him out.
Yeah. So
Meeting
anyway.
him where he's at without
Yeah.
all the fucking red tape.
Right. So there is a difference, but it's been all he needs. So anyway.
Which is good. There's no need to push that if you're getting your needs met.
Yeah. Wait, okay. Should we do #WeirdWin?
#WeirdWin. Yay!
Yeah, you can go first.
Okay.
I don't have one yet.
Okay, I'll go first. Okay, so we got a new puppy, as you can see. My son.
Here's the dog.
Here's the dog.
Yeah. Exactly it. Simba shit. That's literally what I was envisioning. It's why I went like this with my arms.
So we had a Chihuahua when both our kids were born, and he died a couple years ago. And my son had a really, really great connection with him. He's been heartbroken ever since, like burst into tears randomly up until a couple months ago. And he's been begging for a little dog. I love little dogs. I knew I wanted another little dog. But it just was a matter of like, is this the right time for our whole family and everyone's needs? You know, sleep is not good. I'm still dealing with poop and pee. And
So I tell my family, no dog until Ellie's potty trained.
oh, I said that for years. So anyway, I knew it was time for Harvey. I was ready. And then Ada one time was having a big old meltdown, and we have an adult dog named Safi, and Ada in her meltdown, she goes, Safi. And I was like, oh, you want the dog? And she goes, she makes me feel better. And that was all it took. I was like, done. So I started going on Pet Finder, found like 3 months later, found this one to adopt. And she's a lot younger than I was hoping. She's baby. So she's a lot of work. But in my head, I was like, okay, she'll get me up out of bed a lot earlier in the morning.
So you can make the poop.
So I can catch Ada before she poops in her diaper and help her fully potty train. So here's the weird win part. Ada has decided to learn
to sleep.
She's decided to learn to sleep better. So she's been sleeping in. So I'm up with Puppy for about an hour and a half. And then I've been having to wake her up, which I've said before, it's like 10 steps forward and 8 steps back. So, you know, I'm preparing for the 8 steps back we're going to take in the sleep world. But
For it is though, but right now we're both riding that high of
right.
sleep,
She's in a good mode of sleep, and she is sleeping in, which is wonderful. But now I'm up super early with this one.
with the dog.
Hashtag weird win.
It's a good weird win.
Yeah.
My weird win, I don't really know. My weird win right now. Actually, my weird win would be Ellie's going to school and not flipping a lid.
Really?
So like I said, today, she literally ate breakfast, took her clothes off, laid down on the couch, got under a blanket, and was like, oh, Ellie home, no school, Ellie, no school, Ellie, no school today. And I was like, school today. And she actually popped straight back up, got dressed in her clothes.
What?
Yep. I said, Ellie, we have school today. And she literally got up, grabbed her devices, sat down on the floor. I got her dressed, and we made it out of the door on time. So my weird win was Ellie not wanting to go to school.
Sweet girl.
But we went to school and on time.
Yay.
So I guess that would be my weird win.
Yeah.
We made it out the door today.
Yeah. Can I just say how much of a win it felt like when I brought the puppy over to your house? Ellie has a phobia of dogs.
So that's not a weird win. That's a fucking
That was a
win.
massive win.
She touched it.
Yeah, so Sadie's been letting me take the baby
Sadie's been letting me cook her dog.
over to her house. Well, I try to be really sensitive because Ellie's got a full-on phobia, and I like understand what that really means a little bit, as good as I can. But I've been really sensitive to her being in her little kennel bag anytime Ellie's around. And so I had brought her out, and randomly Ellie ran in, and I was like,
her.
oh no, Sadie, I'm sorry. And like, I went to like put her back in the bag, and Ellie saw her and was like, ooh,
And
what did
actually
she
liked
say?
her.
Yes.
Baby.
Yeah.
She was like, baby, oh baby.
And then she wanted to hold
she
her,
touched her.
but was she like touch her? But then
And I was like, oh, be careful. I don't know what's gonna happen.
wasn't it grab her?
Yep.
Grab her. She wanted to hold her, and she's like, grab her. And so I was like letting her kind of hold her, and it was
that was a big fucking win.
yeah. And
I
that was
forgot
one of
about
my biggest interactions with Ellie, just her and I, where like, you know, we had a common interest right then in that moment.
And
it was
she
really
listened
fun.
to you too, which was so big. She like listened, was not crazy
Yeah.
wild.
Yeah.
I was like, oh,
Yeah.
she's gonna throw the dog or something like insane. But she didn't.
She did
She was so good. She like
great.
listened
Yeah.
to you, took it all in.
Oh, I loved it.
That was a big win.
Aw.
So
Look at us go.
cheers to
All
our
right.
diagnosis stories
Yes.
and your fucking journey that I hope has an end.
Right? Or at least a new beginning. That's what it'll feel like
Level
at this
up.
point. A
There's-
level
There's
up.
no words anymore.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
Hope it
Thank
has
you.
a
Thanks for
conclusion.
tuning in. Oh wait, our tagline. All right. We're going to be doing this whether
Oh.
you're here or not.
But we really hope you actually keep coming around because we don't want to be crazy and talk to ourselves.
And we really appreciate it when you do. So thank you. All right. Cheers.